Let's take our access manual and look at adding a new image or an image to the document to try and improve its visuality. So the first thing we want is a new image. So we place the cursor at the rough point where we would want the image because we know that we can move it when we get it anyway. And then we're going to insert online pictures. We're going to stay with office.com clip art because that's not just only clip art type images but also photographs. And I'm looking for a data type image. So I type what I'm after and then return. This is a very popular ideal image for what I'm trying to achieve with my access manual. So we choose the image and then insert. And that appears in the document. We know we can resize it. Let's go even smaller. That's about the right size. Now currently our image has its wrapping set to sit on the line. So you can see the image is actually sat on that first line of text. Well, let's change the wrapping to square, which then gives us the ability to move the image where we feel fit. So I want it to sit here alongside the first 2 or 3 paragraphs. Now, once an image is selected, resized and in place, we can still then do further controls on that image by using the Picture Tools Format ribbon. So unlike the other shapes that use the same formatting ribbon, the picture one is slightly different because it has a lot more options. The first thing that we might want to do is add a different style. So there's a picture style section here with a drop down that will apply a variety of different styles to your image. And you can see that as you move through them, it applies them one at a time. So you can then decide which of those effects is the most appropriate. Now these kind of effects that we're adding here, some of them are quite complicated, messy and intricate, and would take a good graphics designer time to achieve. But all you need to do in Word is run through the picture effects and think, which one do I like? I mean, that one there where it's at an angle with different perspective and it's wrapped around in a sort of 3D pattern is quite complicated, but it's achieved by simply choosing it from the list. That one's too wide. I quite like that one. And you can see the image is then laid over at that style. Now, as well as being able to change the picture style, we have control over the border. So we can put a coloured border around our image. Let's go back to the default style so we can see these borders in effect. So for a red border, different picture effects here yourself. So these are different shadow, reflections, glow, soft edges, bevel, 3D rotations. So effectively they're all different bits of what you've achieved if you were to choose one of the styles. I quite like making the picture go over at a crazy angle. And then picture layout, which doesn't really apply to our photograph type pictures that we have. Let's put this effect back to normal. No rotation. Now, as well as the ability to choose a picture style or edit that picture style by playing with the border or the effects, over on the left here where there's an adjust option, we can actually make some amendments to the image itself along the lines of sharpness and softness, brightness and contrast. As you move through the brightness and contrast options, the different brightnesses and contrasts are applied to your photo until you decide you've chosen the right one, at which point you would click. We can amend the color, and you can see there's options here for color saturation, color tone, and even recoloring an image. If I were to come through and I wanted a black and white copy, I would choose the grayscale option. And then there are artistic effects where you can do crazy patterns with your photos. Again, these effects could take a graphics designer some time to achieve, but here in Word we can just simply choose the option from the list and apply, and the effect is then applied to your image. I quite like that one, through glass. We even have further options here to compress the picture. Now, when you've inserted quite a large image into your file, even if you resize it quite small, it will still be the original large size. So at some point before you were to distribute a document, you would compress your pictures. That would be done with this choice here. Apply to this picture only. Delete cropped areas of pictures. So if you've cropped anything off your picture, it will chop that out. And then your target output. And we have print copy. So if you know this document is going to go to print, you would choose the highest quality for your images. If it's only for screen use, then we would move into screen use. If it's going by email, then we want those images to be chopped down even smaller They don't physically change size, it's the quality of the image that will be reduced, or use the document's resolution if there is one set. So if I stay with screen copy and OK, then the image is compressed and that will save some file size. Now if you don't want a particular picture, then you can swap it. So it will retain the size and the location. So the idea there is to change that picture for another one. And you still have all options available to you. Browse to pick that file from your file system, or search office.com, or a Bing search, or your SkyDrive, or Facebook, or Flickr. So let's do another search for data. I've gone off that picture now. I quite like sort of CD idea. So insert. You can see the image gets changed, but the size is retained in proportion. Obviously, it's retained that height, but the width has moved in, and it's retained that red border, and it's retained its wrapping settings. So by swapping the image over, we retain the image placeholder effectively and swap a different image into its place. And then the last little option over here on the images that's quite useful is to reset the picture. That removes all of the formatting choices we've chosen, so changing the color, any artistic effect, corrections or picture styles. The picture would go back to its original layout, and you can even do reset picture and size, and it will go back to its original size when it was inserted into the document, which in the case of our clip art pictures is highly likely to be a lot bigger than the size we currently have it now. So you can see that the picture options, the first step is to get that picture, but once you've got that picture, you then have a lot of artistic control over that picture from within Word without the need to resort to any graphics packages at all.